Hey everyone, in this video, I'd like to teach you how to use truth tables to test whether a statement is a contingent statement. So by now I've uploaded videos on how to test whether statements are tautologies or contradictions. All it means for a statement to be contingently true is just that it's true sometimes and false other times. Here's another way of putting that, right? It's just a statement that's neither a tautology nor a contradiction. So tautologies are always true and contradictions are always false under all sets of circumstances. Contingent statements, on the other hand, are statements that could have been false or could have been true, right? Just as an example, the statement, my dog is barking, right? Uh, I don't hear her barking right now, but if she's not barking, she could have been. And if she is barking, she could have failed to be barking, right? And that's all it means for a statement to be contingent. The absolute vast majority of statements are contingent truths, right? Because we firmly believe the world could have been different, right? It may be a certain way, but it didn't have to be that way. And that's all it means for a statement to be contingent. In a truth table, this is incredibly easy to test for. You just have to check to make sure that not every row is true and that not every row is false, right? So there should be a combination of truth and falsehoods. If even so much as one, right? So if you have a statement where it's false on every row except for one, that's still a contingent statement. If you have a truth table where it's true on every row except for one, that's still a contingent statement, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and test this out. I have two statements for you already written on the board. They're both going to turn out to be contingent statements. Part of the point here is just to get a little bit of practice, right? And by the way, if you don't know how to construct truth tables or how to evaluate the logical connectives, right, I have a number of videos uploaded on that I would highly recommend watching before jumping into this one. All right, so let's get started. So we'll start off with this statement here, right? So if P, then not Q, right? So we'll start off by evaluating not Q, right? Because we can't evaluate this conditional until we know the value of not Q. So negations are just the opposite truth value of whatever statement they operate on, right? So if Q is true, not Q will be false. If Q is false, not Q will be true. So let's go ahead and do that. So Q is true, so that's false. If Q is false, then it's true. If it's true, then it's false. If it's false, then not Q will turn out to be true, right? And it's really just the opposite of this column here. Okay, so now we have all the truth values that we need, and we can go ahead and evaluate the conditional, right? So a conditional is false when the antecedent is false and the consequent is true. Otherwise, the conditional turns out to be true. So here we go. True implies false. That's false. True implies true. That's true. False implies false. That's true. False implies true. That's true. Here we have an example of a statement that's false in only one set of circumstances and true in all of the others. Doesn't matter. It's a contingent statement, right? It may be true, but it could have been false. It may be false, but it could have been true. Okay. All right. And now let's go ahead and move on to my other example, right? I've made it just a little more complicated, but not that much. We'll go ahead and we'll start off inside of the parentheses because that's always where it's best to start. And then we'll work our way out so we can finally calculate the main connective, right? Because we won't be able to know what this or is until we know what not B is and what A and B are, okay? All right, so conjunctions are true when both conjuncts are true. Otherwise, they turn out to be false. Okay, so let's see. True and true is true. True and false is false. False and true is false. False and false is false, right? So that's the entirety of this parenthetical statement. Let's go ahead and move on out to not B, right? So it's just going to be the opposite of these truth values. So that's false, true, false, true. And now all that's left to do is to calculate this disjunction, right? So you'll remember a disjunction is false when both disjuncts are false. Otherwise, it's true under all other sets of circumstances, right? Okay, so here we have false or true. That must be true. True or false. That must be true. False or false. That must be false. True or false. That must be true. And here, once again, we have a statement that's contingently true, right? So assuming that our world is this first one where A and B are both true, then the statement turns out to be true, but it could have been false, right? And that's enough to make the statement contingent. All right, and that's all there is to calculating, to seeing with a truth table whether a statement is contingent. So if you like this video and you want to learn more about logic, you should stick around. I'll upload these every so often. Actually, I upload them. I'm trying to upload them twice a week. So I'll see you next time.